Now, Bernie Sanders and MSNBC held a town hall in Wisconsin hosted by Chris Hayes. It was a very interesting look into the people that voted for Donald Trump. So these are all, as I said, Trump supporters, and I've got a couple of videos here. Now, the first one's very interesting that I want to get into, and it really shows Trump supporters mostly disregarding Trump's rhetoric on Muslims and Mexicans, and basically saying, yeah, he said that he was going to do this stuff. We didn't actually believe that he's going to do that stuff. So really, it didn't matter, the stuff that he said. It's very, very interesting. Let's take a look at this video.
I want you to respond to that. You're shaking your head, Matt. What do you make of that?
Well, let's ask everybody up here. I mean, what Reema is saying, let me just throw it out. She is saying that Trump won a whole lot of votes based on bigotry, trying to turn one group of people against the other. What do you guys think?
No.
Okay, well, just tell us.
He stirred a dialogue. There's not one person in this room, Democrat or Republican or Independent, that would allow anything to happen like that, even our Congress. That would not be acceptable to anybody. And he just started the dialogue, and the dialogue has changed, and it's gotten better. None of that's ever going to happen. I was not even...
He's proposing legislation, though. He's proposing a national registry. He's proposing removing DAPA and DACA. These are...
In the first place, you can't promote that. That's anti-religion. It's against our Constitution.
I agree.
That's never going to pass. And even if it went to the Supreme Court, I don't care, it would be thrown out. He can propose all he wants. It's got to go through our Congress first. That's another buffer zone we have.
Okay. So, look, there's Trump supporters saying, yeah, he didn't actually mean it. And even if he did, it'll never happen. It'll never go through. It'll never pass. And plus, it created a dialogue. He started a dialogue. Okay, a dialogue about what? Throwing Mexicans and Muslims out of the country. I'm going to have to disagree. That's the kind of dialogue that we don't need. Just saying, it's not a good discussion to have. Literally making registries. That's what he talked about. Creating registries of Muslims from countries that, look, I understand, have some issues. Okay, with Syria, for example, with a lot of refugees coming out of there. Look, I get why they're saying that. And I get why they're saying we have to have a dialogue, but saying that we need to brand them, you know, and make a database of them, follow them around, spy on them, that's not a good dialogue to have. Okay, so there's my nitpick there. Now, also, he claims with certainty that none of this was actually going to happen. Now, it's funny because I bet the Germans thought the same thing. Oh, no, they'll never go after the Jews. They're just kidding. That's crazy. Look, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is Hitler. He's not even close, okay? I'm not trying to break Godwin's law or anything. I'm just saying that is an example that bad things can happen, and that sometimes you do need to take some of this rhetoric for real. You need to think that, well, why would he say this stuff? Why is somebody saying these things? You have to look at their motivations. Now, for example, look, another thing that we could say is we actually shoved the Japanese into internment camps. Okay, somebody said it, and then we did it. And I'm sure there were a lot of people there that were like, no, we're not actually going to throw the Japanese into camps. That's crazy. It's un-American. Well, look at what we're talking about now when it comes to Muslims. Anyway, look, I'm not saying any of this is going to happen. All I'm trying to say is that don't think that this couldn't happen, especially when you put people into power that use this rhetoric. Some of these people, these politicians, actually believe in this stuff. Be careful. Sometimes talk isn't just talk. Anyway, now, look, Chris Hayes, he's going to actually do a good job here and follow up on this whole thing. So let's take a look at this next video and break it down afterwards.
Do other people, this was something that I encountered a lot when I talked to Trump voters, who would say very similar things. They would basically say the things that he says that are the worst things, like the Muslim ban, for instance, that's just him talking smack, basically, and it's not going to happen. I'm curious what you three think of that. Like, is that how you thought of it, or do you think, like, I hope he does that, or?
No, I hope he does not do that. Oh, I mean, I would never want to see anybody thrown out just because of their beliefs or I mean, that's awful. No.
Gail?
You know, to some extent, I'm hoping it is, being one that works in a factory. And I have tried to finish my college degree to be in this factory to do the job I'm doing. But because there's so many illegals in there, I can't get the pay I should get.
So you think illegal, undocumented immigrants are threatening your pay, and you hope he does deport a lot of them?
Well, not including the fact, it's even been said on radio, that a lot of them that get stopped don't pay their tickets. They go to Mexico and hide. They get away with it. They don't pay their taxes. They go to Mexico and hide and then come back. I've seen this. It's upsetting.
Senator, you want to respond to that?
Well, Richard, did you want
I think that a lot of what he says is just unimplementable rhetoric, just to gain attention, and it would never be congressionally approved.
Well, as somebody who was in the Congress, let me not, I'm not quite so sure that you're right. But I think that there's no question to my mind, and I find it interesting that what 3 out of 4 of you are saying is, yeah, he talked about that stuff, but it'll never happen. We don't believe that it will ever happen. Why do you vote for somebody who, in a sense, then is lying?
Oh, man. Why do you vote for somebody who's lying? That is an excellent question by Bernie Sanders. Look, I think I have the answer because we're used to politicians lying to us every day. Democratic politicians, Republican politicians, the American people are desensitized to the consistent lying. That's kind of our problem with politics. And so, yeah, people are used to it. Like, yeah. We don't think that you're going to follow through on anything that you say. We're still going to vote for you, but we know you're not going to do that crazy stuff that you want. Well, Trump's kind of different. There is some crazy stuff that he probably does want to do. Now, the other stuff that he did promise to do, bring back coal jobs, for example, negotiate things like TPP or NAFTA, the working class stuff. No, he ain't at all interested in doing any of that. No. What he's going to do is that, and we've already seen this thanks to his picks for his cabinet, he's going to cut taxes for the rich, for his banker buddies in Goldman Sachs. I mean, he's got 2 Goldman Sachs guys on the in his cabinet. Those are his picks. He's going to give tax breaks to those guys. He's going to give tax breaks to himself. He's going to help deregulate business. He's giving it to his friends. He's giving it to, and Reince Priebus, by the way, who's his chief of staff. Well, he now owes a lot of people. So he's saying, hey, Trump, appoint this person that I owe a favor to in the Republican establishment. See, that's what they're doing. And that's the stuff that he lied about, because he lied about helping the working class and not filling the swamp. Well, he decided to fill the swamp instead of drain the swamp. That should be much more important to these people than the whole Muslim thing, okay? If they're to forgive and to say that, hey, man, he didn't actually mean it with the Muslim stuff, well, then at the same time, you could go over and say, and why are they getting mad, I should say, at the fact that he's broken his campaign promises to drain the swamp. Why are they not mad about that? Maybe they knew who was lying there. I don't know. Anyway, now look, I'm coming up pretty harsh to some of these Trump supporters. I understand that. Now, here's where I'm going to kind of go a little bit on their side. Now, a lot of you might think that Trump supporters, they want to cut things like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and fuck over poor people and all that. Well, there are some that do, yes. However, as you're going to see, there are actually a lot of them that care about these programs that not only don't want it cut for them, they also don't want to see their neighbors lose their health care or, their grandparents or, other people lose these vital programs. They don't want to see them cut. In fact, let's take a look at that video.
Can I ask one thing?
Yeah, please.
You know, I'm
Ask
sitting
two
here.
things.
Oh, thank you. I might make it 3. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to all this. And, you know, as she says, who's paying for this? Right? Who's paying for the Medicaid? Who's paying for the Social Security? Who's paying for the Medicare? Who? Thank you. We are. Now, have any of you seen down on streets that it seems as though we have become the silent minority and not the majority?
What do you mean by that?
How much have we been listened to, really?
But who's the we when you say this? You mean
Us people.
who people?
The
White
people who need the Medicare, the people who need the Social Security, who needs the help with the education.
Okay, but now here's good point. Let's see if we can go forward on this. I'm assuming that you believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that we should not cut Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid. Is that correct or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it shouldn't be cut.
Okay. Do you know who is now working very hard to try to do that? Republicans in Congress have a plan under the guise of saving Medicare and saving Social Security, making devastating cuts. That's what Republicans are now trying to do. The other point that you made, which is I think you made it, or both of you have made it actually, is who's going to pay for this stuff? And that is a very fair point. What all of us should know is that over the last 25 years, there has been a massive transfer of wealth in this country from you to the top 1/10 of 1%. In other words, the middle class has shrunk and trillions of dollars have gone to the top 1/10 of 1%. Do you think it's inappropriate to ask those people to start paying their fair share of taxes so we can adequately fund Medicaid and making public colleges and universities tuition free? Is that an unfair thing to ask?
I don't think it's an unfair thing to ask. The 1%ers, they got rich off us.
That's right.
So it's time they put back.
Okay. All right. All I'm saying.
Look, right there, nailed it. That's exactly why Bernie Sanders is a great progressive. He can actually talk to people, and he can actually break this down and be like, yeah, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, all that stuff, free, affordable tuition-free college, that stuff is actually really popular among Trump supporters, among Republicans even. And Bernie Sanders is there bridging that divide. And see, here's the thing. I think talking to people, that needs to be the focus. Because as I said, these programs are incredibly popular among all segments of the entire population. Now, here's the thing, too. So why don't they vote for the Democrats? Why do they vote for the Republicans? Why don't they vote for the Democrats who actually support and try to champion these programs? Well, it's because I think the Democrats kind of suck at reaching out to these people. They don't reach out to middle America. They don't reach out to the working class. They don't do it. They suck at defending these programs that they're supposed to champion. Let me give you an example. Barack Obama, during the debt ceiling negotiation, continuously offered up Social Security cuts on the table. Republicans, you've been wanting to cut Social Security for 50 years? Here, let me just put it on the table. I'm going to offer it to you up on a silver platter. Here you go. Here's Social Security. Go ahead and cut it. Go ahead and cut it so I can get maybe something a little bit in return. So you can actually fund the government. Now, you kind of have Republicans to thank for their utter intransigence. No, you didn't cut it deep enough. We want to cut it deeper. We want to eliminate Social Security. We want to privatize it. We want to get rid of this whole thing. So we're not gonna let you cut Social Security because we don't think you're cutting it enough. Republican intransigence is the only thing that actually saved Social Security back then. Now you're not going to have anything that's going to save Social Security. There's going to be some cuts. In fact, they're already working on a plan to cut Social Security after they get rid of Obamacare. Which, by the way, I read an article earlier. Vox, I know, Vox, pro-Clinton propaganda, etc., etc. Like, I know, But this was a straightforward interview with a Trump supporter who loves Obamacare. And she said about the same thing. I didn't think he was going to actually follow through with this. I don't think he was actually going to cut it. I didn't think that they were going to try to roll back Obamacare. No, I love Obamacare. I need it. My husband needs it. I thought it's just talk. It's just talk, right? I hope not. Because then I'm going to lose my insurance. Then I'm going to go back to paying, somewhere around $1,200 a month, she said, for premiums that she couldn't afford for her and her family. Sometimes they do exactly what they say they're going to do, especially if it hurts the middle class and it helps them. Maybe you should listen to what they're saying and believe it when they say that they're going to do something like cut Social Security or gut the Affordable Care Act. Just saying. But again, back to the Democrats who don't seem to stand up against these. Now, right now, of course, you've got Chuck Schumer, weirdly enough, in the House saying we're going to fight vigorously against Social Security cuts. Well, you better. You better. Because there is nobody else that is going to fight against this. The Democrats have to stand strong. Unfortunately, as I pointed out before, they are not paid to be strong. They are paid to be weak. They are paid by the same people that pay Republicans. And because of the money, because of our perverse system, you have these Democrats that are given all this money, right, from giant corporations, from super PACs, normal PACs, etc. And these Democrats are weak. They pick out the weakest ones, and they give them all this money. So naturally, in our system, they win, they get positions of power, and of course, against Republicans, they fold like a cheap suit. Now, here's the other thing, right? The Republicans, just like the Democrats are paid to be weak, Republicans are paid to be strong. However, when you challenge the Republicans, since they're not used to actual resistance, they also tend to fold. Because they're not on the right side of history, they're on the wrong side of history, and they're also on the wrong side of the American public. And see, this is why, when you're actually a strong progressive, like Bernie Sanders, and you stand up against this, and you stand up against Republicans, and you do what's right, they fold. Because they know they're not on the right side, that they're on the side of the rich. They're on the side of the oligarchs. They're on the side of neoliberalism and corporatism. That's why they can't stand up against real progressives. And Bernie Sanders, bless his heart, he's a New Deal Democrat. He's the actual old pre-Bill Clinton Democrat that actually stands up and defends these programs and appeals to the working class. That's why he is the most popular politician in today's world. Donald Trump is not the most popular politician. He's one of the most deeply unpopular politicians. He's like a 40% approval rating? He's down in the dumps. Whereas Bernie Sanders is incredibly popular. Why? It's because he goes out and he talks to people. This is what Democrats need to do. They need to be more progressive, and they need to start reaching out. They need to talk to people in flyover states. They need to go to Wisconsin. They need to go to Michigan. They need to do what Bernie Sanders is doing and talk to people. Because when you paint the entire group as nothing but a basket of deplorables, well then you're not going to get them on your side. But if you take time to talk to them, you realize that a lot of them actually do hold progressive values. Some progressive values, there are some things where we will never agree with some Trump supporters. And we'll never agree with the white supremacists that have attached themselves to Donald Trump. But most of America, they're not white supremacists. Most of America is actually fundamentally progressive. And they believe in taking care of each other. And they believe in these programs. Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. And that's why we need to reach out to them. That's why we need to talk to them. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.